Hi, everyone. Good evening. I know there are other people who are going live at the moment, so I just thank you all for being here. Let me just share the stage a little bit differently here. Oh my goodness. Hi. Hi, everybody. So happy Tuesday. A lot of conspiracy theories going on. A lot of conspiracy theories going on tonight. So I have been doing a little bit of preparation. I did want to make sure that I had some research ready. I had a great response to the last live that we did here with everybody. So a lot of people I kind of trimmed down for those who were interested. Sorry, I just put some eye drops in. I'm trying to wear contacts because I had glasses anyway. The glasses are pushing on my nose where I had my septal deviation repair, and it's not doing my nose any favors. But anyway, we have brought Salah flowers because I don't know. I know Foodie's gone live, and thank you everybody for being here this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. I'm glad everyone's so excited to learn about gallbladders this evening, and I will start looking through the chat. So yeah, hi. I know everyone knows that I come and hi PM, hi Paige, hi Blink, hi Eileen, hi Rosebud, hi Sapphire. You were the first one in the chat and I saw you. Hey Green Dragon, hi Gracefully Mary. Team Psycho is here in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I know it's a Tuesday and I know other people have gone live. I did want to come out and do my own thing because I'm obviously here just to come in and get through the conspiracies and the medical misinformation. And I have not watched all of, I watched a little bit because we're going to talk about the gallbladder. We're going to watch some of Chantel's mukbang that she did on her, I think it was a Middle Eastern feast. So we're going to kind of watch her eat, learn a little bit about the gallbladder, look at some of the questions that got posed by the community. I didn't get a chance to get them all fixed up like I had previously with the cardiac question. So we'll just go over to the community board and kind of take a look, because there was a lot of, questions just generally about, about the diet, which I found something quite interesting and I think it might surprise people. There was information or questions asked about how he could be so young. And so I think it's very interesting to look at some of what they call the 4 F's of the risk factors for having potential gallstones. There are many different treatments that you would receive just before having a gallbladder removed. We know that Foodie Beauty has had her gallbladder removed in the past, and so her potentially using her own history to excuse Salah's current lack of appearance here in her in her streams, or where he is Salah, those are questions that Foodie Beauty is answering with supposed his gallbladder surgery, but I don't think she mentions anything about it through this mukbang, which is quite interesting. It just kind of came out of nowhere. He was suddenly getting gallbladder surgery, or it removed laparoscopically, and this was somebody who just days previously had been, running around a abandoned school and filming. So it just, even though like the symptoms are generally a dull ache and so forth, and I'm going to share a little quick video about that. It just seems very, and I think everybody feels like there's a conspiracy behind it. So let's talk about the possibilities of whether we think Salah has really been off to have this gallbladder removed. And I understand his friend has mentioned that he actually had another procedure done, which was to remove an ingrown hair, potentially in the gluteal area, which actually can be really dangerous. And so for men who potentially sit a lot, or who don't have, or who potentially have more hair, because women, we can sit and we just don't have the same sort of anatomy to have hair growing in that location the same way males do. And so we don't have the problems of the ingrown hair, and it can get very dangerous to the point it can become necrotic and massive infections. And I've actually cared for patients who have become extremely, extremely sick from having an ingrown hair in the back area, or in regions that men are, and generally like in the groin and backside area. So it actually can get really, really dangerous if that's what he's having done. So it's so hard to know with this universe what is truth and what is false, but I'm getting a sense that potentially Salah has not had this gallbladder procedure. But regardless of that, we're still going to talk about the gallbladder, because I think we should understand, because Foodie Beauty has in the past had her gallbladder, she has said, removed. What do you mean it's not nice, Siri? I don't know why Siri is telling me that's not nice, to saying that Foodie Beauty has lied in the past. Sorry, my watch talking to me for some. Anyway, so yes, it's likely that the gallbladder is not, but Foodie has potentially. So for those of you who are just interested in knowing for your own health, what could potentially be signs and symptoms of gallbladder? So yeah, that's going to be some of the things we're going to look at tonight. You had yours removed. Oh, it was awful. I'm so sorry, Stackish. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. You still have yours? That's good, Green Dragon. And I still have mine too. So that is not something I've had to experience. But like potentially many here, there are multiple reasons why a gallbladder would be removed. But usually there's generally gallstones are probably the primary cause that can lead to infection, that could then, if the gallstones are not able to be removed or they cause further infections and so forth, then the gallbladder could be removed. So much before that. But we're going to look at something called biliary colic. It's the medical, it's very quick, it's not super complicated language, but we're going to look a little bit at Foodie's food first. Knowing that she doesn't have a gallbladder, just to look at what she's eating, then we'll watch this video and we'll take a look at some questions and we're going to kind of back it back and forth. Okay. And I'll try to help answer the questions. And obviously, I just asked everyone to be respectful in the live. I'm going to try to take a look through. And then we have another video about the diet. And it was fascinating what I did find about life after gallbladder surgery. And so I think it would be a lot more, it's going to be surprising. And obviously, as I always want to preface, this is just for education and entertainment purposes only. Any of the conversations that we have around this individual are not to treat or diagnose them, and really just to use it as a platform for information and discussion from a licensed medical professional here in the United States. I have over 10 years experience as a registered nurse, over a year of graduate studies and a Master of Science in Nursing, focusing on acute care, adult gerontology. I've also hold a Bachelor of Education with honours from the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. And so I come with a wealth of knowledge and experience in order to hope to share this ability to disseminate so much information through the influencers that we have here on the internet and specifically on YouTube and other social media platforms. And so I don't know if everybody saw, but I did update some of my banners recently, really to kind of give that focus on health in social media. I'm trying to expand. I know glitters was real popular. I started to look at Hungry Fat Chick, and that's very concerning. She's very concerning to me. There's a lot of them. And also just, so just look out. We'll be going live. Obviously, I do either try to just have those published, or you can catch up on some of the, I try to condense them down too. So I'm happy to bring more and more of this information. I felt like I'm like 4 subs away from 2,000. So if you do like this type of content, hit the likes, hit the subscribes. You know how it goes. I do try to get into, hi, 123 people. I'm so excited. I'm hoping I'm looking straight in the camera. I try to get better. I try. I hope the sound's good. I'm working on it. I'm working on my thumbnails and everything, And at some point, if we become a large enough community, then obviously if people express interest and want to be able to have their questions more focused, then memberships will be something that I will be looking at in the future. So anyway, okay, let's get into Foodie first, and let's just bring her to the stage and see what she started to eat, and then let's learn about friend. I'm going to use this other thing that talks about biliary colic because I think it really explained it. It was really super simple, and I found it on YouTube. Anyway, okay, let me get. Oh, look where she stood in front of. She stood right in front of a little food stand. That's perfect for tonight's conversation. We have Miss Foodie, and you know what? I have the best moral support next to me, of course, because Junebug is snoring on the chair. Like I said, we brought Salah. The flowers are still going. So I don't know what Art Foodie is, but I've only had to buy 2 bouquets of flowers in about a month. It's wild. My flowers last longer than her personality changes. Obviously, I like toys. And, Salty Barbie the RN, that one day, if my, OCD personality allows me, I might actually take it out of the plastic and play with her. Because I'm like Sheldon from oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of the show and I watch it all the time. But Sheldon. Yes, you know exactly the character I'm talking about. Anyway, he's probably keeping it in plastic. And so am I. Which is weird because I really want to play with her. And look at it. And I found out the inflation on a Nurse Barbie over Christmas because I bought her in the summer for like $6.99 from Target. And just out of absolute curiosity, I wanted to see how much she would cost at Christmas. And she was over $10 at Target. What does that say? Anyway. Oh, are you serious? Hi. Hi. I was hoping I wasn't going to clash with you. Are you serious? Because I saw you were live and I was like, I always check ahead of time to make sure I'm not clashing with anybody's live times. Just out of one, just absolute respect and respect for what you're doing and for, answering, some of the less savory aspects of being in this community. And we certainly do not approve of any type of bullying or harassment in this community. This is about sharing good medical, safe knowledge. Okay. And if it gets too big and we need to get you to mod and you're available, are you serious? Let me know. And I'll try to remember how to set up a moderator because I don't know what's happening with my Nightbot. I disabled like every function he had. So just let me know. You did? Well, you didn't have to do that because I knew Foodie was live and she was so happy, I guess. I didn't look yet. I don't know if she's discussing her health or not. But I have my suspicions about whether Salah really got his gallbladder removed because it just came on way too sudden. If you would usually these things don't just happen overnight unless it's super acute. And this did not sound from her talking about going into an inpatient. And obviously we suspect and heard from his friend Alal that it's not really that it was probably an ingrown hair, which I had just spoken to the audience, is also, it actually could be more deadly than the gallbladder. Unless the gallbladder, they're both not great. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let's get to Foodie. And let me bring her up more than me. Oh, I went a bit wild with the blush tonight. Let me make me small. There we go. And if you hear snoring, she ended. Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm still modded. Oh, perfectly. Oh, you still are? Wow. Okay. Well, if you can help, if you're not, feeling terrible, if it gets to the point where you feel like you need to interject with anything that's not appropriate, moderate, please. Okay. Because I think I disabled most of Nightbots, except for the fact I need to figure out how to make it so people don't need to be a member for 24 hours to chat. I need to figure all that out. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad. Thank you. She probably had not much going on. I'm thinking, she's got to come out with content every day, though, because as any good YouTube content creator knows, it is getting closer to the end of the month. And February, I don't know, are we in a leap year? I feel like I haven't seen a leap year in a long time. But I'm going to take the stethoscope off. Sorry, I'm so comfortable wearing a stethoscope. I don't even realize that I don't have it on. I don't know if we're in a leap year or not, but obviously February is a bit cut shorter. So she's really going to have to, oh, Sapphire, thank you for the super sticker. I so appreciate that. And I know that you've put questions and everybody who's participated in the community portal have questions. It's great because I've had a wonderful response and people telling me they found the information really useful. And we just hope that in this community, thank you again, we can keep highlighting, these folks and using this as a platform, like I said, always to teach some interesting medical stuff because there is real science behind a lot of these things. So yeah, hugs to all of you out here. I've got a nice warm sweater on. I hope everyone's happy. So yeah, let's just get on with Foodie and then we're going to watch. It's a leap year every time we have. Oh, that's how you remember? Oh, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. So this year's a leap year. Oh, I love things like that. Because I have my thing for remembering the days of the week, which is, how many days in the month? Sorry, I should say days in the week. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28 and sometimes 29. And that's how I always know how many days are in each month. It's a good tip, isn't it? I love that tip. Because I always wonder. I love that. I love just, good information tips. Okay, well, let's see what she has here. And then we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to bring a quick gallbladder video, gallbladder questions, and we will see. what she got going on. Okay, well, off you go, foodie.
Cameo at a specific location like a nice beach or a mall, just let me know. Get yours today and don't delay.
Hello guys, welcome back. Assalamu alaikum to another Eat With Me video. So let's have dinner together. So today I'm having some Middle Eastern food that you can find very easily here. So I have some grape leaves, my favorite, with some lemon. I have different kinds of...
Okay, I already have questions, as we know. It doesn't take me long to get to my questions. How is it that I've ate Middle Eastern foods, and I'm sure many of us have enjoyed tabbouleh and other really great Middle Eastern dishes that don't include all of this bread? And we'll talk about the bread in a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot of carbs, and we're just focusing. And this is something interesting about the gallbladder that I kind of found out a little bit further with some physicians and their recommendations. So we'll look at this with another doctor. So yeah, here she is, and I was looking at eating some of these, the grape leaves, and they are just packed with rice and sodium, and they are brined in those grape leaves. That's a lot of salt. We know that's not good for her heart. And then she's got in front of her all of these little brown treats that she then starts to go through and mentions, as you probably know, every single thing. And I don't even know what these things. And then the cola, I don't know, because it's written in Arabic, and I don't know if somebody is familiar with that brand would know whether or not that is a diet soda. No, she's not eating what she should be eating. She doesn't look very worried for a man who's supposedly gone into the gallbladder surgery place. So anyway, I hope everyone's having fun in the chat. Let's keep over to Foodie. Let's just see her explain, and then we're going to get this little quick 3-minute video about the gallbladder. And I'll interrupt it along the way so I don't get cited for YouTube standards.
Sambusa, kibbeh, some fatire, which is kind of like an empanada, Middle Eastern empanada. This has meat and a kawi cheese, and this has halloumi, olives, za'atar, which is thyme, and tomato. And these are lokma stuffed with cream, and this is kinza, Saudi Arabia soda. All right, so bismillah, let's dig in.
Is that
one of these
hey, Dr. On Call.
Ooh, these bad boys here. I love grape leaves.
Oh my God.
They're not from a can.
Not from a can, but they're still going to be
the can ones, but...
girl.
So these are called...
They're still brined. How else do you think they get that flame? Oh, that was a good stop for her on the filter. I did you favors there, Foodie. I know she loves that good photo filter. Wow. That is a lot of fried food. That's a lot of brown food. That brined grape leaf, I don't think is going to give the fiber necessary. That lemon slice looks sad. The cola, I'm guessing, just from how it's packaged, like I said, is that a full sugar soda rather than a diet? And then she's got 2 little balls of bread stuffed with cream. I cannot believe how much fried cheese carb. This is just insane. This is insane. And you'll realize even why this is more insane very shortly. But this is wild. This is wild. Diet soda. Well, I don't know if that's diet, though. Oh, you said, let's see what she says. She always talks about the diet soda, so betting it's not. The site that breaks down the macros said her last, 2,400, a week's worth of sodium. A week's worth of sodium. Imagine. Hi, Sam. Can you imagine? I am not shocked it's a week. In her heart, at 40, there are, I'll see if it brings it up in this video, but there are the 4 F's to gallbladder risk, and we'll go over that. Okay, so we've just had Foodie explain what her meal is, and I'm going to now share the screen with some of my first questions that came on. So let me stop her. Let me bring some of the questions over that we had from my site. Here we go. There we go. All right. Am I small? Oh, yes. Good. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for leaving all of the questions and comments, and those who have had experience with having had their gallbladders removed. And you're going to start to understand, even though I know my audience seems predominantly female, I actually get about 25%, something around there, of male watching the channel. So that's great. I actually get a very nice gender spread, considering we're covering girl world. So I thank you all the men who watch this channel, and any of the non-binary folks who also watch my channel too, because I know that is also part of my statistics. So everybody here is welcome. And anyway, you're going to learn why the female gender is important, particularly with gallbladder disease. Okay, so we thank you, everybody, for everybody who was left. We've had questions about, obviously, Catherine asking about her terrible diet and whether that's, you know, having any effect on her gallbladder. Obviously, there's information that about his having the cyst, and you know, but about him talking about, obviously, Salah's back gluteal area and having obviously more hair than most and so forth, and getting an infection, which I spoke about, is not uncommon. That is much more common to happen for a male than a female, in, you know, on the gluteal area. For females, more in the bikini area. So just be very careful when shaving down there, ladies, or hair removal. Those infected hairs can get very dangerous. So I suggest, if you do start to get an infection, follow up with a dermatologist immediately, or your doctor, or whoever your primary care provider is, because it can become an infection. So just, you know, just caution everybody. Okay, other people who talked about having, you know, just functioning, and just having ultrasounds. So, you know, is there a question if the visits to the clinic that Chantel and Salah have been filming, are they actually visits to for his appointment ahead of time, rather than her having a minute? Oh, thank you. Are you serious? I was just saying, I'm like 4 subs away from 2,000. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe he was seeing the endocrinologist over there. Yeah, found out the yoga. Yeah, I always suggest learn how to read the back of the labels. I always look to see exactly, you know, how many portions and how many servings and so forth. Okay, other questions? You know, Salah, whether it's the eating and so forth. So we'll keep going back and looking at these questions. So you get a kind of general sense of the questions that I had received from everybody. And so thank you guys so much for all of that. Okay, let me go back to this video I wanted to show you guys. And I think it answers a lot of the questions, and I found it very helpful. Not that I couldn't explain it, but it has some graphics to it. And so I think, and it shows just a little, it's just as a really nice explanation. So I'm going to bring this up. Oh, this is from a site called Osmosis Elsevier, which Elsevier is a very well-known publishing house for textbooks, particularly medical textbooks and healthcare. And this was great. It was quick, and I'm just want to share this. So we're just going to watch this real fast. It's 3 minutes and 38 seconds, and then we'll go back to Chantel's eating.
Colic refers to severe abdominal pain, and biliary refers to the bile ducts. Biliary colic happens when gallstones get lodged in the bile ducts, which causes temporary severe abdominal pain. Sometimes this is also called a gallbladder attack because it can come on pretty quick. When you eat foods that are high in fat, like delicious french fries, they make their way to the small intestine. And the fatty acids in the fries stimulate cells, which are the enteroendocrine cells, or hormone secreting cells of the intestine. These cells secrete cholecystokinin, also called CCK, into the bloodstream, and those hormones make their way to the gallbladder and tell it to squeeze. Meanwhile, CCK relaxes the sphincter of Oddi so that the bile can make its way to the duodenum. Now, bile's a fat emulsifier, essentially helping to break fats or lipids into small micelles. And then pancreatic lipase gets in there and helps break it down into even smaller molecules that can then be absorbed by the villi of the small intestine. Now, some people develop gallstones, which are hard stones that form in the gallbladder and are made up of the components of bile. Risk factors for developing gallstones include things like female sex, obesity, pregnancy, and age, sometimes remembered by the 4 F's: female, fat, fertile, and 40. Now, after having a meal, that gallbladder might contract and eject the gallstone into the cystic duct, where it gets lodged. As the gallbladder contracts against the lodged gallstone, it can cause sudden, dull pain in the right upper quadrant or epigastrium, which can then radiate to the right shoulder. Typically, the pain intensity increases for about 15 minutes and then hits a steady plateau for a few hours, but usually less than about 6 hours, at which point the gallstone dislodges and rolls back into the gallbladder, and the pain subsides. The pain often starts up several hours after a meal, but can also happen frequently at night, since laying flat makes it easier for the gallstone to get lodged in the cystic duct. Other symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and sweating. So biliary colics where that pain's temporary. But if the gallstone doesn't dislodge and stays in the cystic duct for longer stretches, it can lead to acute cholecystitis, or inflammation of the gallbladder, which can cause similar symptoms like pain in the right upper quadrant. But since there's also a significant amount of inflammation, there are more severe symptoms like fever. Diagnosis of biliary colic is typically based on recurrent symptoms and confirmed by ultrasound of the right upper quadrant. Treatment involves managing pain and other symptoms, but a definitive treatment of recurrent biliary colic is cholecystectomy, removal of the gallbladder. All right, as a quick recap. With biliary colic, usually a gallstone gets lodged in the cystic duct following a fatty meal, which tends to cause a steady, dull upper right quadrant pain for a few hours, which then subsides when the gallstone dislodges.
All right, guys. I know. I appreciate. Hey, I enjoyed all the comments about it felt like science, but that was pretty quick, I thought. And just so my thoughts are, I don't think it's. I love it. Yes. Oh, thank you, Marley. I just yes, Girl World is educational. We absolutely are educational here. Absolutely. 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 So let me get hold on. My view went very strange here. Let me get back to my why is my view so strange? Hold on. Let's see. What's this? What happened here? Hold on. I had something very odd happen with my camera size. Hold on. Why is my camera so big? Hold on. Why is this so large? Anyway, okay. Sorry, guys. Something is very odd. Let me just not try to let me cancel this. I'm trying to figure out why I suddenly went so large on my screen. Well, I'm right here on my thing. It just suddenly went very odd, and I'm trying to get out of it. So I do apologize. I don't know why I went so big. Let me see if I can get out of this. I don't want to do that though, I don't think. I might have to come back in, guys. So hold on a second because something happened. I mean to say, I apologize. I suddenly had some weird thing happen on my laptop, and I was taking over the screen like I was in a science fiction movie, and that was not a good place to be. So I apologize. Thank you for telling people to please hit the like. And I'm glad everybody enjoyed that little piece about the gallbladder. So yeah, I don't think Salah has had his gallbladder removed. That's my, my take on that from Foodie. Let's bring her back up on the stage and see if she keeps continuing about it. I just actually think that what's happened is that she had that herself. She's got something else going on, or she just did not care to talk about his other procedure, which was to have this potential impacted hair removed because of the embarrassment. So, being typical Foodie, we love educated queens. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a way to use people that are kind of problematic like Chantel and use it to either educate and inform about all of these different medical things that get mentioned. And I love, delving in a little bit further, finding some quick, easy little things about that. Chantel is much more the risk factor for having problems with the gallbladder. Now, she's already had hers removed, so everything that she's eating is not obviously affecting the gallbladder because the gallbladder is not there. So she's not going to be getting the gallstones because of the fat buildup in her gallbladder, basically. But I found something very interesting because a lot of people had questions about whether or not she could continue with this diet or whether the diet that Salah was eating could contribute it. Now, as they showed, that one of the risk factors is more being a female. So if you are a female and you tend to have a diet that's looking more like Chantel's and you have the 4 F's for the risk factors, then obviously it's not going to, you're going to be increasing the likelihood that you will too have gallstones and potentially problems with the gallbladder in the future. I've had a number of my girlfriends who've had gallbladders removed. If you think about it long and hard, anecdotally speaking, and obviously we talked about the risk factors, and that would be from evidence and statistics, but if you think it anecdotally in your life, the majority of people having their gallbladders removed are oh, shoot, sorry guys, I've been on mute for like 10 minutes, darn it. I just realized, what an amateur. Jeez, sorry guys, I apologize. Oh my goodness, I pulled a pulpy there. Does the weight loss increase? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know no one heard me, Lucy J. I just suddenly realized I muted myself because I didn't want everyone to hear me slurping on my iced tea and putting the lid on, and I didn't want to distract from the video. Then I went all weird on the camera. So it's just a moment. It's a moment. It's a technology moment, despite having set everything up. I'm not muted. I wasn't muted. Oh, you heard me? Oh, good. It's probably because I have different microphones set up. So that's good because I have the good mic. It's fine. Oh, good. Oh, you heard me? Oh, good. All right. Well, I just put a better microphone on then. Oh, excellent. Okay. Gosh, I was like thinking, gosh, I just been rolling on about, I'm too funny. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah. Oh, thank gosh. Oh, we heard everything. Thank you, Jesus. Thank God. It's fine. It's because Foodie and her lines are making my brain go into jelly mode, man. Trying to keep track of her lies and the lies about who's getting medical care in her life is just too much for, because she's obviously got stuff going on. But she's just winds in these other stories. Like somebody had pointed out, it was Rose, that she just goes on about this foreign exchange student called Duck, who is completely a character from 16 candles. It's like, girl, what are you doing? It's just wild. She is a wild. She is just a wild mystery. So the likelihood of it being, you know, you thought, Rosebud, that you ended up, sorry, to hospital and they thought biliary colic. Since it was late at night, they couldn't do ultrasound. I had ultrasound. Thank you, good fatty. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. And one day we're going to talk about the fatty liver, because they've actually changed the name of that disorder because it encompasses something else, and they wanted to kind of get rid of the stigma too around the name of that disorder. So it's actually quite fascinating. So one day we'll get into that, and I'll, you know, as always, go to the community board and see what type of questions people have. We're still going to do the diabetes. We're just waiting for Cold Turkey to return from her vacation so we can have a Canadian diabetes educator with us on panel to discuss the questions and discuss type 2 diabetes that Foodie has. Oh my goodness, Michael, thank you. Wow. Oh, Michael, well, you know what? I will go and have a sour beer with Miss Junebug at my favorite farm to table restaurant that's in my neighborhood. Thank you, Michael. I hope I stay at 2,000 because YouTube has a way of just like getting rid of my subs. Like I had one day I came off and I had like 1999 and the next thing I know, I looked and I had 1988. I was like, what happened? It's, you know, I guess if you buy subs like Foodie, you know, they just stay even. I was at $3 to the sub. Oh my goodness. What's this? The long duck? Yes. Yes, who stays in the game of film. Yes, exactly, Team Cycwood. Thank you for explaining. That's one of Foodie's stories. So everybody, you know, gets kind of caught up in just her kind of bizarre behaviors, but I'm just listening to this individual as just an adult, and I'm just like, how much is she lying about her life? Because she has nothing to talk about for 7 years. So her stories, and they're very obsessive to the childhood. I would love to get a mental health professional on a panel, but it's everything we just speculate. We never can diagnose or treat it. So it's just fascinating to have somebody have to just come out with so many stories all the time. And it's just, you know, and this whole thing about Salah and the gallbladder, I don't think anybody believes that he's had his gallbladder removed. Anyway, you had your gallbladder, a lot of pain, being punched. Right. But how many, you know, and there's a lot of people, absolutely. It is not an uncommon procedure. Just Salah has not demonstrated, he doesn't have primary risk factors, which is one thing you always look for. Hasn't talked about, it just came out of nowhere. And usually there would be other steps, the ultrasounds, all these things, unless that's why they were going to the clinic and so forth. But we've heard from his friend that that's potentially not the case, that it's actually a hair. So anyway, let's get back to what she's talking about over here on her Middle East feast. Let's keep her going here for a minute.
Or like in
oh, sorry, I'm going to speed her up.
It's grape leaves.
She's so slow.
That are stuffed with rice and spices and tomatoes. I'm not sure.
Sorry, I sped her up.
Let's see what flavor this is. Mozzarella olive. Olives in Arabic is zaytun.
Oh, well, that's more educational. I appreciate that, Foodie.
And you know I love zaytun. Maybe girl.
Absolutely.
Now this is kibbeh. Kibbeh. It's this one has meat inside. It's kind of like arancini, like rice balls, but this is bulgur wheat, and they're fried, but they're stuffed with different things. Now this is meat one. Very good.
Mm.
You can't have any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I am going to try to make this.
Just to stop her, obviously. I'm just obviously always, yeah. I'm going to bring up in about halfway through a doctor who talks. She gets overexcited about the food. I don't know if she's getting overexcited about the food anymore. I think the food isn't giving her the taste it used to, because one of the things with type 2 diabetes is that over time it will affect the taste buds. So she's not tasting food as she had. So she is picking things with a lot of salt. I think that she is showing signs of having problems with her. I mean, this is all speculation, but obviously there is a lot of edema on her. Those hands, wow. Wow, those hands are very, very. She just had a side salad? Are you serious? Yeah, but her side salads, unfortunately, are potato chips, oil, tomatoes, and lettuce. And they're not very nutritious. It's not like she has a salad with quinoa and red cabbage and, a few little cherry tomatoes, or, her salad is never like a salad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cheese. Her salads are lettuce, cheese, and dressing. It's lettuce, cheese, and dressing. So it's about everything being bland. He was a type 2 diabetic. Exactly. And cold turkey, she's on, like I said, she did point that out the other day in our stream, that the level, once you start to have, especially her unmanaged type 2 diabetes, she is no longer, the blood sugar gone. She doesn't dare to bring that information out. She was trying to convince people who really didn't understand diabetes very well that she was controlling it. And I think a lot of us finally, came out and said, no, you are not controlling your blood sugar. This is bad information. Stop telling people this, stop telling people that you're, and now her blood sugar just must be, I can't imagine. And the medication that she's taking would not be working with her diet, because all of the medications, and we mentioned this in another live, are to be used with diet and exercise. And diet does not mean the diet oh, sorry, I should probably make myself have a little bit bigger. The diet should not be the diet that Foodie is eating currently. This is not a healthy diet for somebody obviously with unmanaged type 2 diabetes, as we know. Okay, let me make her small. Let me get her back. Oh, keep eating.
So I hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is meat tartare. It has minced meat, tomato, and some Macau cheese.
The cheese. It's always the cheese. You always gotta have cheese, man.
I taste cinnamon.
Yes. Yes, Sam, she
So
is. That's why she craves so much sugar and salt. And she's just, yes, I think well, obviously, yeah. If you have persistently, hold on, let me not be rude over Chantel. People tell me off for talking over her sometimes. Sometimes I do because she bores me. She's so uneducated. She says things so incorrectly. I just like, oh, she's like, oh, girl, please. But yes, to bring up the point that was being asked, yeah, it's 100% feeder content. Yeah, absolutely. They're her secondary, but they may not have been paying her very much recently because she was not getting takeout and was having to make food from the fridge. So she obviously renegotiated, or some cameo money or something came into the bank, because she's out getting takeout again. So I think really just her takeout is indicative of whether Chantel making money or not. That's basically what that is. The minute Chantel got money in her pocket, Chantel is purchasing food, which, you know, any of us know is probably not a great sort of long-term financial plan, considering she lives in a foreign country and the husband is really a transactional relationship. So I would be wanting to save a little bit more for my future, because you can see that she's obviously having a monetary issues. If you're like having to get to the struggle cabinets, you know, that usually means like, you know, I think in Chantel's case, if she had the money, she would be buying the food. For the rest of us, we might think to actually save it. Oh, it's 100% feed. Yes, exactly. Right. Is the difference? And there is. And this is all speculation, obviously. But we know that, you know, Chantel, and a lot of it's sad because a lot of these, and I saw a recent thing from Alex's Shook about Hungry Fat Chick. And, you know, I keep sort of looking at her and I'm like, oh, should I say something? Because I'm very concerned about her health and that she was doing very well. And because she was not getting the views and the money, because everybody's content has different, you know, RPMs, depending on what type of content you introduce and do. And these individuals have tried to do health journeys. Their views fall because that's not what people watch for. And she's back doing very damaging content. It's very sad. And Chantel is kind of the same, that her formula for making money is to eat this type of food. It's not going to be her cooking or doing healthy content or anything, because that's not how she built her channel. And so, and she hasn't been able to pivot away. And when you do, sometimes those pivots are not very profitable for these creators. And there is an element that if this is your income and your income source, you're going to stick to the formula that works for you. So that's why it's so important when you're, you know, sitting, thank you, please hit the likes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's really sad. Yes, she does. And I think Chantel is no different. And who's the Hungry Fat Chick? We don't know. I know that Hungry Fat Chick was a long time in the hospital. We know that Chantel has talked about lower back pain. We don't know if that's from kidney problems. Obviously, if her heart starts to not function, it's going to slow the kidneys down. That's always the two systems that go down are the gastric and the kidneys, because the heart's like, oh, they don't really have that important of a function comparatively to the lungs, the heart, the brain. Those are the organs that the heart is always going to put its priority to. And so it's going to slow down. And anytime when you're having any type of heart failure, the kidneys and the gastric system. So you're going to feel full and nauseated faster. And your kidneys, you're just not going to excrete. So you're going to tend to hold fluid, hold, you know, your sodium. You're going, you know, you're not potentially going to have good potassium balance as well, which can lead to other cardiac issues. There's so much that gets involved. Yeah. You feel bad for Candy. Yeah, I do too. I really do wish, and this is why, you know, I feel that even having content like mine, even though the topics are difficult, I think it's important for us to discuss these things, because I think the normalization of having this type of content in order to make money, and then the harm that's happened to these people. I'm sorry. I feel like sometimes I should be bigger. I'm sorry. I'm so terrible at changing the camera sometimes. The harm that can happen to these individuals is huge. Anyway, let's get back to foodie eating and let me make me.
I think it's also about time I try to make my own grape leaves. Overdone. do.
No. And not to interrupt Chantel, but I think that's the difference between Candy and Chantel is that I think she generally seems like she is a nice person in a tough place. I've never, that's one of the reasons why I find it very difficult to want to criticize her content in some ways, because I do feel for her a little bit more. And I know she's had other issues too, and there's, you know, and they all have kind of messy lives. I know that I think she doesn't have her children. Is that correct? I don't know. I'm just discovering, and she just kind of gets left because she's not as, but I feel sad that her health journey came to an end and she keeps getting these skin infections or infections, I think her skin. And I just always get concerned when people's skin starts to have like repeated issues because it's the largest organ in the body and it's probably our biggest barometer of how our health is doing. So when you see that somebody's skin is not healing or is not doing great or is having multiple issues, that's usually a sign of larger systemic issues too with patients.
So let's see what's inside here. Pizza line. Yum. My first time trying a pizza line. I've said this in another video, but they usually, these are very popular. Like they have little stands, you know, little restaurants, and they sell these sambusa, and it's just like a pastry fried with stuff inside. Usually it's vegetable, meat, or cheese, but this is pizza one.
Gotta have cheese. Can't go anywhere without the cheese. Oh, okay. Okay.
I think anything flavored with pizza is good.
She did. Oh, yes, her manners. Oh, God, yes. Foodie's manners went out the door a long time ago. Is there a napkin in
They prepare like whatever you order. They prepare it, they put it in the oven like it's pizza, you know, made to order. Let's see what this one is. Another meat one? Okay. I love the book. It's so good. If you can find it.
Yeah, there's some very good hospitals here in the U.S. We're very blessed.
Meat. Oh my gosh.
Am I thinking?
I watched an amazing movie.
Now, does she jump cut through her meals? Or did she eat dessert already? Oh, no forks. Yeah, well, the forks she's not going to use. This is definitely all hand food here, Rosebud. It's all napkins. Definitely napkins are a precious resource like gold in Kuwait. So you wouldn't want to waste a napkin, you know? How dare you, keep hands clean when you've got a mouth that you could just like lick every finger with and then dip that around your food. And Cold Turkey brought up a great point that with Chantel having unmanaged type 2 diabetes, there's a likelihood of her having more chances of like oral thrushes and, from the high blood sugars. So think about that. Every time she licks her fingers and then dips her pan back into the pickle jar of the reused pickle juice. And think about, and she doesn't get any dental care. And I think I have seen, it looks like bleeding gums and potential gingivitis on her gum line, which is why she may not want to get that camera too close up to there. She doesn't enjoy her food. No, Pam. Pam, she don't enjoy food. The food is no longer an enjoyment. And this food is nutritionally not even anything nutritional. You could not anticipate having a diet this brown and anticipating that your health is going to be in any way good. And you can't supplement and vitamin, take your way out of these things. literally, and every nutritionist and every registered dietitian will let you know that the best way to get these types of foods or from fruits and vegetables and, you know, nuts and seeds and whole grains and lean proteins and fresh food sources as much as you can get. And if you do find that you have to use tinned or canned foods, I just always recommend, even if it says low sodium, just rinse it off under the sink ahead of time before you use it. Because for some, maybe the challenge is having to use tinned or canned items. But you just rinse it. Just make sure you rinse it off. Don't cook it in the water that it came with in the can. I think, most of us just dump it all into a pan in the can, but that is not advisable. It's rinse it off, get fresh water, and then cook it. It's better to have something canned that's going to have some fiber still than even, having this, whatever this is. This is terrible, Chantel. This is why I had the question. So we're going to go back over to some of my quick questions. And then we're going to finish her out, and we're going to bring this doctor up real fast. So let's go back to some of the questions I had. Let me bring that up. Stop Chantel for a second. Let me share the screen. Let's have a look at some of my questions. All right, let's see what else we had here. Just to say thank you for everybody who took the time. You may see your name coming up. Why does this? Okay, so let's see here. We don't think he got his gallbladder removed. It says there's a lot of people letting me know they had their gallbladder removed. The gallbladder became infected. That ever since then they've had to go on a ultra low fat diet. Once they got the infection under control, because it was too dangerous to operate, they had to wait. This commenter had to go through quite a lot, actually. So thank you, Wheelie Mum, for sharing that. I'm sorry you were very poorly and did not really understand what was going on at the time. And I'm hoping that us talking about Chantel and Salah's potential gallbladder removal, that we will learn some of the signs and symptoms to take care of. So fatty food is obviously, if you have a diet high in fatty food, you're asking your gallbladder to do more work. And at some point, it may not be able to bring enough bile salts and break all of that down. And so you need to have, and it's in the small intestine also, that it has hormones that get released that help with this process. So it's important more to reduce the amount of fatty foods, obviously, that you're consuming, because you're just putting yourself at a higher risk factor. All right, we had people asking how she could be normal. How could she do this to him? And we don't know. We don't know really if he's eating with her, if he's eating her food with her, if he's really having these symptoms. I'm saying he's not at a very high risk factor for this. She doesn't really have a lot of details. It came on very suddenly. My thoughts are that he is not having a gallbladder removed, in my professional opinion. How does Chantel's diet of cheese work without a gallbladder? Well, you'd be surprised, actually. I think you'd be surprised to find out. And I'm going to leave that surprise to the end. Okay, let's bring Miss Chantel back up to the stage. Let's finish her out. And then I'm going to answer the questions about, they are great questions. They were really great questions. Yeah, and thank you everybody who participated. Usually I try to put them up on a little video with all the questions. And sadly, I just was rushing. I was doing a little bit more on the research of the gallbladder. And the more I was kind of getting into the mystery of, sorry, I tried to share the screen here. Tried to get into the mystery of the gallbladder a little bit more, the less and less it seems that that would be a potential procedure that Salah could have had. Time frame very short. Details, as always, with Chantel are scanty. Chantel has had the procedure herself. It's easy for her to use that if she needs it. It's a great cover for whatever reason he is not there for the home. Usually, if he was having it, I don't know what the standards of care in Kuwait are, but here in the United States and probably a lot of other countries, it usually is a outpatient procedure. You're going in, you're getting it out, you're going home. It's not one, unless you've had massive infection or there's something else going on, that you would be hospitalized, especially if it is a planned procedure. Most people are not, unless there was a complication that happened. Him going off for 2 days, that would not be part of it. And the lab work, yes, that would be probably drawn. You can have lab work 30 days ahead of time. As long as your lab work is within 30 days, that is here in the United States, the standard of care. So as long as the labs are within 30 days, those are the labs they're going to use for your surgery, unless something acute has come up and there's an absolute reason to pull new labs. But for most people, if you even need to have labs, they're drawn 30 days ahead of time. For some people, you might just need to get an H&H, what they call it, you know, for making sure you're not at any risk factor for bleeding. That's it. You know, there's certain things. So just depends. So, but if they needed to have a CBC or a BMP or an H&H or any of those types of labs prior to surgery, he can have those drawn 30 days. So maybe that's why he went to the clinic. Maybe that's why. I think they may have chosen, right, exactly. I absolutely agree. I think it's just a story that Chantel has familiarity with. And because of that, she's just gone in and used that to cover for whatever reason, for whatever's happening with Salah. And like I said, I don't know if she mentioned more in the live today about where he went. She doesn't seem to talk about his surgery at all here. So it just seems, exactly, he just got back from camping. And Mary, if you don't remember, he's just been filming her a ton recently and walking around the school for an extended period of time that was bombed out or was abandoned or whatever happened to that school. So yeah, he's like, doesn't seem like somebody getting ready. She said, give him a chance to discuss the bullet with life. So yeah, exactly. We could just talk about Chantel's gallbladder being not there. Yeah. I'm way behind y'all. Oh, that's okay, Lisa. It's Chantel's still got stories, okay? Because she like the young and the restless over here. She's just coming out with all sorts of covers and weird stories that we're like, and she uses a lot of medical stuff to try to excuse people's absences. So it just gives me opportunity to have wonderful, great conversation with everybody about his, you know, potentially what's going on. What's this? Is she talking about endocrinologist? Is she using the endocrinologist? Oh, you love my channel, Jamie? I'm so glad. I love being here with you guys. I have so much fun. It's a great time. I love talking about healthcare. It's one of the favorite things. He was always going to the hospital for surgeries. Dang, that's expensive. For such a young man, I'd be very concerned then. If he's that young and he always having to have procedures, I would be very concerned. For a man under 30, that would not be a good sign to me. I would be like very questioning, like, what is going on then? That's not great. Yeah. You're interested what how it affects my gall. Yes, absolutely. We learn about our gallbladders instead. You know, we you know, Foodie's already taken hers out, so we're going to learn about how we protect our gallbladders. And if you are obviously female, obviously the fourth, and I hate using the F word for obesity, but they use that. Obviously, if you are fertile, so obviously still menstruating. And if you are around 40 years old. So Chantel took hers out even earlier than the majority of risk factors. But we know Chantel's special. And she goes a little bit above and beyond. Hold on. Sorry. Let me get her on the stage. Sorry. It's just I forgot to switch him over. I got to do the switch over. It's a lot to remember. Okay. There we go. I think she's there now. Let me double check. I got a lot of tabs open. That's the problem. I got a lot of information I wanted to share tonight. All right. There she is. There's Foodie. She's contemplating whether or not she's making good choices tonight. That's what she's doing. That's the face of contemplation there. That's a very, she's like, am I making good choices tonight? No. You can't. Well, yes, Mary. This is what we're going to talk about. Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness, my laugh is even worse. My friends are like, gosh, I hope you're not laughing on camera, girl. Good choices. Yeah, she's making some great choices tonight. That's the face of like, I'm contemplating. Good choices? Absolutely. Why not? Unmanaged type 2 diabetes, potential chronic heart failure going on. Why not? Let's have some more sodium. I mean, I don't even know what the sodium could be on this. This alone is probably a week's worth of sodium over here. Be very cautious with those grape leaves, people. Just be cautious. They're brined. Anytime anything is brined, just caution. Okay, just caution.
A cowie cheese is kind of like a mozzarella. That's how I find it tastes. I don't know.
Oh, more cheese. It's always cheese. Always the cheese. Probably a lot of sodium. Some of those cheeses are very salty. Yes, yeah, with rice
and cheese.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I have a lot more cooking coming up, so stay tuned. Sorry. The movie is called Nowhere, and it's on Netflix.
Oh, come on. Come on. Get this off. Get this off.
I like survival movies.
No.
But this one takes the cake. Like,
okay. I think my StreamYard doesn't let me zoom up. But look, she just got the food hanging right here. Have we seen a napkin yet? Because sometimes she gets the grape leaves. Like, yeah, that keep going in the arteries. Yeah, she don't care. I almost feel like she's on a wish to get ill so that she becomes bedbound and becomes almost like a liability to this family. But Rose Thorne is very clear in pointing out that, and I'm not sure, I've never lived in Kuwait, but that they would just send her back home to Canada because her tourist visa would run out. So they would just get her home. She's not a resident of Kuwait of any form. And I don't think that marriage, and even if you are married to a citizen, and I don't know because he's Syrian, so I don't know what his citizen status in Kuwait is. But usually that's not always just cut and dry that you then have carte blanche to live in that country. There are still things that you do have to follow through with immigration and paperwork. That's specific for every country. And I know Milk Tea is great with the visa stuff. So check out her channel for anything regarding the visa. But she just got the food hanging there. And I don't think I've seen a napkin. Yes, Miss Milk Tea is the best person to ask. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I lived in Mexico for 7 years. So I'm only familiar with the FMA 3 and the FMA 2. So I know a lot about Mexican immigration and how that works. So... and I don't know if it's similar in Kuwait, but in Mexico, there are ways to get papers done. Let me just say, but all of my papers were actually legally obtained through work. So there is ways to have work, but you have to have a skill often that is not one that a native from that country can perform. So you have to show somehow, even when you are married, and I was married, and even when you're married, sometimes, at least in Mexico, it was better to have it through your work than through the marriage. And my husband also had to say that he earned next to nothing, which was not true. But we had to say that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have permitted for me to work in Mexico because they would have seen me as taking a job from a Mexican citizen. So anyway, does she have a napkin? Does she? Because why she got the grape hanging right here? Anyway, that's sloppy. We all know she's very unsanitary. On top of it, Chantel, come on, get better manners, girl. If you're gonna eat on camera, at least, come on.
It's amazing. A woman. It's a dubbed movie. I think it's Spanish. Forgive me if I'm wrong. She's a very pregnant woman.
So the seaweed is, or the grape leaf, just gonna. Oh no, it's gone with the food now.
And her husband are trying to escape an oppressive regime. Another jalapeno.
That sounds very Kuwaiti.
And they pay their way, like
jalapeno.
People are being killed and kidnapped, and it's just really dangerous. So they want to flee and become refugees in Ireland. And to get there, they would be getting there by hiding in shipping containers.
Yes,
Like on a big ship.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yada yada yada. Something happens. She ends up stranded in the sea in the shipping container, pregnant. You have to watch it.
Well, on
Not
that
really faint of heart,
recommendation, absolutely.
But I just couldn't stop watching. Like,
yes. Oh my gosh, you're gonna eat everything, isn't she?
I don't know what's exactly in the meat mixture. It tastes just going by taste buds.
Thank you.
Tomato, pomegranate.
I hope so. I hope you come kick them out.
Maybe cinnamon or nutmeg, mincemeat.
Do you not even? Okay.
I'm telling you,
Now,
it's delicious.
obviously, I am not somebody giving mukbang content here. Okay. My question is, would you not thank you for the congratulations on the 2,000. Thank you. I hope they stay at 2,000 because YouTube has a way of kicking my subs out. So they'll get me up and I'll get all excited. And the next thing I know, they'll take 20 people out. I'm like, how is that possible? I feel like YouTube torches my channel. But anyway, but thank you. So I have to, let's celebrate with flowers. Because Salah in the hospital. Salah is not in the hospital. She hasn't mentioned him once. Have you noticed? How could you be talking? Just her level of delusion, I think, is just wild, and everybody knows that. YouTube is cracking down on the mukbang. Yes, it should, Lisa. I am totally on board. And like I said, I actually sent my application to be a medical person a little bit before my 2,000, just because I'm thinking, oh, by the time they review it, hopefully I'm at 2,000. And I had enough watch time hours, so I'm like, oh, let's hope so. Because I really do want to be able to introduce this, but not in ways to try to shame or bully people, but to use it as a chance to educate and inform the rest, because a lot of people talking about it. But I think talking about things that we need to do as a community to help guide people into better health is so important. I've been seeing, just so many young people being more affected with colon cancer, and a lot of the risk factors for these diseases are the risk factors that Chantel demonstrates. So it's just kind of, I just want people to not be in a hospital. I promise you. I've worked in those places. And they're not very, they're just not set up to manage these chronic illnesses coming in that are ones that are often coming from lifestyle choices. And these are choices that Chantel makes. Anyway, let's get back to her meal, and then we're going to finish out with what this doctor said about whether or not she should be eating this. I mean, we know she shouldn't be because she's the type 2 diabetic unmanaged, but whether this type of diet, how does that affect you if you did not have a gallbladder? That's the question. Or does it?
The best takeout grape leaves I've had. No joke. I haven't had many. Well, there are a lot of places here for that, obviously, right? I'm in the land of grape leaves. But grape leaves, like, we're not in more of a
Oh.
Lebanese, Syrian, maybe Jordanian. I don't know what other countries, but I don't think it's like a Kuwaiti food.
I haven't seen a
Imagine if it's Kuwaiti.
napkin. I still haven't seen a napkin.
I need to try more Kuwaiti food. I
Yes.
honestly only tried Metros.
Well, I don't know.
That alone is delicious.
Nothing concerned.
Maybe for Kuwait National Day, we'll have some.
When's Kuwait National Day? I'd love to know. Is
No,
she
we'll
gonna
definitely
do
have some, but I don't know if I'll
it?
make it or if we'll buy it out. It depends what we're doing that day. So we'll see. If you're wondering, yes, I'm getting full.
I'm surprised. I'm
Yum.
surprised she's full. She ate for a family of 5.
Let's get it with the potato and meat.
Gosh, all that fried food. Can you imagine? And she's got
I find a
no
lot of Middle Eastern food, they
gallbladder to
use
break any of this stuff down.
Bulgur a lot. Bulgur wheat. Even in their desserts.
Oh, so it's very soon.
Or no.
25th of February. Thank
Is
you.
it Bulgur? I think basbousa is made with semolina. But they're similar.
Yes. Oh. Oh, God, that sounds awful.
Yeah, kinza is from Saudi Arabia. I'll just eat the cheese.
She ate everything. Oh, she just ate the cheese out of that, left of that little tiny piece of bread, hey?
If you've made it to this point, guess what's in this last triangle? I'm going to say pizza. Mozzarella and olive.
Cheese. Cheese. We should have just guessed cheese, shouldn't we? Cheese should have just been the guess. Cheese, 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 cheese. Great. Wipe my hands on my clothes.
What are you doing here?
Well, the cat's under there. We know. Everyone knows because you feed the cat at the table. Oh, wow. She pushed
Yes,
too.
you are.
Sorry, I got salty now. Salty is Chantel's meal now. Sometimes I get salty with her. Sorry. Kuwait National Day is celebrated, thank you, on February 25th every year. This holiday commemorates the day that Sheikh Abdullah Al Salim Al Sabah became the ruler of Kuwait in 1950. Thank you for sharing that. Are you serious? I love learning about history from around the globe. That's excellent. Because we don't ever have a national day in England. St. George's. Or I think that's right. Because he scared the dragons or fought the dragons or something. We tried to convince people in Mexico one night because it just happened to be St. George's Day in England. And we were having a very loud party in our flat that we lived in Mexico City when in the 90s when I was young with other English people. And we were getting a little bit rowdy. And the security came up to complain. And so we used the excuse that it was a national day in the UK with it being St. George's Day. But I think we were just blatantly lying. So there you go. There's a story from my past, Chantel. We all got stories in the past, girl. Anyway, does she have anything? Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you found that story funny. Always cheese. Yes, there's always cheese in there. Gosh, I can't believe she actually pushed away the 2 little pieces of bread, though. English people are the most fun. Yeah, especially when we've been, I promise you, every time I've met people abroad, they're like, oh, I met these English people, they were drinking. I was like, oh, God. Tell me what I don't know. But I'm glad to see she pushed away the 2 pieces of bread. I feel like she jump cuts this. I feel like this content was pretty depressing, too. Has anybody noticed that she's talking more about prisons and really weird content? Like, I feel like she feels like she's in a prison in that apartment because she doesn't get to do very much. Like, I feel like I have so much to do in a day. Sometimes I'm like overwhelmed by the amount of stuff I'm trying to get done. I just had an invite come through for a reunion for my nursing school at a really nice restaurant, big place here locally. And it didn't say that was like, there was no mention that I even have to pay for the ticket. It's like they're just going to have a luncheon reunion. So I'm excited. I was trying to think about what am I going to wear at this reunion. It's at this nice place. I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to seeing classmates I maybe haven't seen in a long time. Catching up, letting my classmates know about this channel and how we get to talk about health on the internet and what I'm doing and how excited people are to do this content. So I'm really excited. But we know Chantel has nothing. Well, that was the, you know what, Temple Fox? And you're bringing up a great point. And that was something that I thought about for her today. Because I had been offered many years ago a job in Kuwait. This was like in the early 1990s. And I was offered a very good salary, tax-free, free apartment. This is when I was a teacher. Free apartment, flights back home once a year. It was a 2-year contract. It was great. It was a great contract. But I knew that being in a country like Kuwait for a female, particularly, and this is in the 1990s, was very limiting. So though the money was great, I was still young and wanted to have a little bit more fun. So I ended up in Mexico instead, which was wild. So very different. But yeah, I'm wondering if Salah is not there, I believe you do have to be chaperoned by either your husband or a male in your family, if I'm correct. And unless you're associated with work or you're there on a work visa, potentially working, I don't know if that's different for women who work and therefore are carrying work, or if what the regulations are. I'm sure those of you who've lived there know more. You went out all the time. Well, I think Egypt is different though, is it? I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. Yeah, Mexico's a lot more fun, but a lot more it could be potentially more dangerous. Not in Kuwait. In Kuwait, do you need to have somebody like in Saudi Arabia? I'm thinking, do women need to have either a male family member chaperone? I know women can drive. So I don't know. I don't want to sound ignorant. And I feel like I'm sounding a little like I don't know what the full allowance, especially for a woman who says she's married and not single and doesn't have family. And Salah maybe is the only person who can escort her around. I don't know. She is free to drive. Oh, she is? Okay. So why is she sitting in the house all the time? Oh, it's fairly liberal? Okay. Oh, good to know. Okay, well, since she has no excuses. Is she well, I think it's not only due to her size then, but due to her own volition of wanting to get out. So there would never be a reason why she couldn't have gone to the hospital, supposedly, to visit Salah. Or for her to be able to, I understand she can't get the driver's license, though, on the tourist visa. Is that correct? But there should be public transportation. She's across the street from that beach. I mean, she could walk down. I'm sure there are shops in that area that she's within walking distance to. I mean, I don't really know the neighborhood, so I can't really say. She could hire a driver. Right. She has, instead of spending money on the takeout, she could have the driver hired and do things. If she and she could go to a gym. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of things that Miss Chantel could do if she really set her mind about it. I don't think we should think that where she's living is her limitation. The only limitation that Chantel has is Chantel and potentially her health and her size. And I think that we do have to reflect on whether she does have embarrassment about people seeing her and seeing her size. And that can't, and that is a stigma that people can have. So, I do think that she's, and I like I said, I always weigh in between compassion towards her as a healthcare provider, and then my sort of adult size of just being a regular human being is like, she's not really a nice person at the end of the day. And she's, not being very compliant. and that is not unusual. And usually I would say patients who are non-compliant, there's another issue that's causing that non-compliance.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Oh, good.
And yeah, thank you for having dinner with me. My favorite thing, if you could guess, the kibbeh. It was so good. And the grape leaves. Everything was delicious, but those were my favorite things. The kibbeh, the one had like a mint. Sorry, it had like a minced meat inside. It was like a mashed potato and like onion. I don't know. It was so flavorful and delicious. Oh. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna go make a tea. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing on her hands. We always are talking about this. What's that? What did Jen ask? I might have missed something here. I'm sorry. But her hands are very. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you guys probably know what. Oh, hey, Santa Cook's here. Hey, Santa. He should. But I think she did some things that were somewhat not, you know, I don't think she has the personality. I had very much my own life when I lived in Mexico, away from my ex-husband. Way too much, actually. That's probably part of the reason why our marriage probably fell apart. But besides the fact that I am just like wildly independent, and Leonard Skinner's Freebird is probably like my anthem song. Even though that's not necessarily my generation, I just am a Freebird. It was, you know, I think she only wants to be out if she can show off husband. I don't think Chantel has any real genuine interest. I used to love to go to museums, oh my gosh. I mean, I traveled so much for my work. I went to probably 50 some different cities in Mexico because of the type of work I did. Sorry, I should bring myself up. Because of the type of work I did. And I'm sure she's going to fall asleep after that meal. Gosh, because she's going to be feeling lethargic. And oh, I was pointing out her hands. Sorry, let me make myself small. She's got terrible looking edema here. This is fluid in this hand. When I was looking at her hand, she is starting, in my professional opinion, this is just me speculating and other people speculating too. She is starting to look like her heart is not doing great. She never talks about her blood pressure. I want to know her blood pressure. Yeah, poor circulation in the hands. Yes, absolutely. And that could be because, one, the heart failure is slowing circulation to those extremities. And two, the fluid obviously compressing on any type of arterial and venous structures as well, preventing for the good blood flow. So there's a number of things that could cause for that blood flow to be compromised. But it does look compromised. Absolutely, Jamie. I would agree. Absolutely. Yeah, she looks compromised. Enlarged heart. I've heard she has had an enlarged heart. And I would not be surprised if she has had. Thank you. Yeah, I only want to speculate. Thank you. Are you serious? I'm only trying to speculate because obviously I am trying to be a practitioner, and I don't want to try to, I don't have any lab work. I'm not palpating Chantel. I can't press for edema. An assessment would be more than me just kind of, making these, but based on this obviously heavy sodium diet, lack of physical activity, the number of risk factors that Chantel is demonstrating with the sodium, she could easily be getting ischemic heart failure. So having clogged arteries from having I've talked about this before, about the metabolic syndrome and the dyslipidemia and that atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease that comes along with that, and that's starting to decrease blood flow from those arteries that feed the heart muscle, and over time that starts to make the heart larger as that heart muscle enlarges and finds it harder to do its job, it's thickening the muscle, and the heart is one of the muscles that you don't want to have that wall thicken, because then it's got less ability to squeeze properly and send blood flow around the body, which could indicate why she's also got compromised looking hands with her circulation, because she's very pale there. She looks very pale, shiny. Oh yeah. I mean, there's that. Yeah. Thank you. Are you serious? Thank you. I appreciate it. Jamie seems like she's got some good things that she's in. Educational purposes only. Absolutely. Information, entertainment. I have to put this. Oh, yeah. I would love to see a new A1C. I'd just like to see even just a fasting blood sugar on her. I would just like to see a blood pressure on Chantel. Because if she's not managing the diabetes, she is not managing anything with the heart. And this sodium-filled diet and all that bread, she can't burn all that carb off. And it will start to just, and I think she's smoking in the background too. Yes. Anyone? Yes. Yes. We all have disclaimers. Absolutely. Yeah. She's bad bruising. Oh gosh. Yeah. She's got, what's we got? You think if you got finger? No, I think it's Salah. I don't know. There's all sorts of speculation. His friend said he was getting some type of procedure done. I don't think his family want her around, to be honest. I don't know his family. She's vaping, she's smoking. Yeah. All of that is going to be really bad on her heart, too. Oh, she's talked about high blood pressure readings? Oh, I doubt. Oh, no. She broke the machine? Why? How? Throwing it against a wall? That's what I think he's had done. I think that's happened. That's why. Yeah, I think. And he might be home recuperating with his family because she can't take care of him. She's not going to be. She can't. Oh, I know. She's bored with the diabetes management. Unfortunately, diabetes type 2 diabetes isn't bored of her. So she could be bored. She's going to have. One day we will not see Chantel. Or she's going to start looking really peaky. And I can already tell her apathy. The human body is amazing. But she has put her body through a lot. And she has showed early signs of just not, she's had just early signs of risk factors for future poor health outcomes. Let's put it that way. That's my polite way. Okay. I'm going to bring up this last thing that was interesting about this doctor and what he said about what the diet should be after gallbladder surgery. And it's real quick. It's not even a minute long. So let's bring that up. And then I think we'll probably finish it up for the night. Hold on. What do I keep trying to share here? Sorry about that. Because this is and this was all part of YouTube's medical platform, which I'm trying to show up in. I don't know, but they do have these medical platforms. It's all information, and I find sometimes it's interesting to see just because, obviously working. If you are really interested in the pathology or anything in that nature, I would always recommend looking at Ninja Nerd. Is fantastic. That's a really fun channel to watch. He's amazing if you've ever looked at Ninja Nerd. He's really amazing. Okay, let's see what this doctor says, Dr. Canfield. And I've put all these links already in my description box if you want to see these further. But this is like not even a minute long. So this is what he advises for life after gallbladder surgery, which we do believe Chantel has had. Oh, hold on. Yeah, have I shared it? Yes.
Most people feel so much better after getting their gallbladder out when it's sick that they really don't have much in the way of post-operative symptoms of having missed the gallbladder. The gallbladder's function is basically to store a little bile and put it into the small bowel when you eat greasy food to help the greasy food dissolved. Some people are a little intolerant of greasy food in the first several weeks after surgery. Most people go right back to their regular diet. So not that that's advisable, but there's very few side effects after getting the gallbladder out. One uncommon side effect is a little loose bowel movements that can happen, and that is easily treated, but that's probably about 5% of patients that have that.
All right. And then Michael, I see something happened amazing for Michael. So let me make sure I get over to what's happened for Michael.
Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Buck Parker. I'm a board certified general surgeon. And in this video.
Okay. As you can see, we're going to see something for Roberta. What happened with Michael? What's this? I didn't. Oh. Well, just be careful with the carnivore, okay, Michael? Just because. Just careful, okay? Make sure you're checking your cholesterol levels, okay? Just because sometimes it can be a little bit more building up on those cholesterol. So just be cautious with that, okay? I'm glad you lost that weight, but just be cautious, okay? You're turning 60. Well, happy birthday. You're never too old. Absolutely. But like I said, just be careful when your diet has a lot of meat in it. Can lead to potentially cardiotherosclerotic heart buildup. So I would just be making sure that I was getting my cholesterol levels monitored as I ate a keto diet, and just let your healthcare providers know, just to make sure that you aren't missing any nutrients and when we do these types of diets. So just always be careful. That's always my advice. So, but yeah. Oh, good. And you're good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, just be careful. Yeah, it's very similar to the Atkins diet. And just obviously let your healthcare providers know when you're doing any type of diet that is not, that is maybe changing, restricting one food over another in order to get a result. Because then they can make sure that they're getting the correct labs pulled for you. And you can have an honest conversation with them about it. And I would always recommend doing that. Because like I said, you're over on the carnivore side, and I eat primarily a plant-based diet, because I find that for me and managing my time of life and for my health, that's been a really beneficial diet for me myself. And so obviously I've let my healthcare provider know. We make sure we pull obviously the vitamin B12 and the B6, which potentially, if Foodie is having the type of diet that she has been consuming, then she could be deficient in those, which would make sense if she did get B12 then. But I just don't know. I've had so many people comment that it seems very unusual to have people have chronic conditions receive long-term care from a provider when you're on a tourist visa. So none of it's and I think that is the biggest problem for her being able to really take care of her health in any measurable way. She could tell all the stories in the world that she wants to about doctors, clinics, this, that, and the other. But most of us, and a lot of us, have lived abroad, traveled abroad, lived in other countries. I've lived in like multiple countries. A lot of the folks which is why it's so astounding when, and we know it's just her, blabbing off Foodie about a lot of people not having education, experience, have traveled like she has. And that, again, just kind of reiterates her lack of knowledge and understanding about the world, or even the people who may use her content like a lot of us do to instruct and teach for other things. I think she thinks the focus is about haters and stuff. And like I've always said, hate is too strong of an evoking emotion for me to feel that towards her. I just want to be able to use her channel as a means to inform and educate around health, because she cannot do that. And so, yeah, I think it's like so important to keep continuing these conversations. And so, thank you, all you serious. Thank you. I know I kind of went on a little soapy box there. She's extremely so. She is very treatment resistant, Lisa. And I think even if she were in a country like Canada, which she was before, she's very treatment resistant. And that's got a whole other bag of chips, as we say in England, behind that. And I think that's got more, obviously, part of her cluster B personality disorders that we speculate a lot about her having, and watching her and seeing how she interacts with people. Obviously that sort of, we had a very interesting, there was a lot of psychology folk in here the other day, and we had a great speculative conversation about her narcissistic personality disorders and overlapping with, looks like a little bit of borderline, potentially some antisocial. They're very treatment resistant. And where they're treatment resistant with their mental health, I can promise you they're just as treatment resistant when it comes to some of their physical health. And you have to navigate around these patients in a way that you make them feel like they're so special all the time. And it is pretty exhausting. And I've had to do that for these types of patients in order for them to stay, on track with their medications and stuff. But you can't, as I've always said, you can't force people. She's not on a 5150. You're not holding her down. If she's making these choices, she has the right to choose it. She's going to hit up emergency rooms. She's going to exhaust resources. She's going to frustrate care providers. She's going to do all of that. And at the moment, yeah, she's challenging. Absolutely, she's challenging. Fatigue. Oh, yeah. She seems very apathetic. Her content, like when she was in Canada, she seemed like she had a lot more energy. Even though she was like taking the gummies, I swear, even though she was getting high, she had more energy. Rolling around in that Kia because she was just more active. So she probably potentially, even though her blood sugars were terrible, she just was getting a little bit more activity. She's gone days now probably sitting. Can you imagine? I can't imagine just sitting all day in that tiny apartment. I don't even think she goes down to get the food. I swear she doesn't walking on that beach. She's not outside. She doesn't participate in anything. And that's choices that she makes, of course. We all know that. And it's got to be depressing. It's just got, oh yeah. Right. And then she can go out. Yeah. She's stopping herself. There's nothing that's preventing her from going and doing things, except for Chantal. And the fact that she may not be able to physically drive the car and have to hire a driver instead because she's not a permanent resident. The only thing that prevents her from getting certain things is permanent residency in Kuwait, which I don't know with her, problems in Canada and her having had financial issues, if that's something that's looked at when they're applying for residency, and if that would be something that they would not find great. I know in Mexico it's a whole different thing. Because I had mine through work. So I had a job and I was filling in a need supposedly, which somebody else couldn't fill. So that's how I got mine. But she doesn't have any skill set. She's not even teaching English. And she said she was an English major. Do you think she's working as a teacher in Kuwait to make a little extra money and get to know people? Get to know families out there? It's a great way to get to know people. I taught in Mexico for years, all types of places. I mean, I traveled because I worked for a big publishing company and would teach. I mean, I got to stay in the nicest hotels in Mexico, all along the coastline. It was beautiful. Got to go to all sorts of places and try foods. And I mean, I traveled all over the place with my work. So there are ways. And she just doesn't have any of that. She just has no motivation. And now that her health is getting, it looks like worse and worse and worse, I think she doesn't have the energy to even, I think she looks spent, man. She looks spent. She quit college after the first semester. Oh gosh. She would hate to do how much college I've had then. She want to talk about college? Chantel, I got 2 degrees. and studied, and most of these people probably have, like many nursing students. I already had 1 degree before I went into nursing college and got a 2nd degree. And then I also studied advanced Spanish for like 18 months at a university in Mexico. I've talked about this before. And I got postgraduate studies too. So she is like, and there's probably people on here who have doctorates potentially and master's degrees and all sorts of stuff. So I find it quite amusing that Chantel is persistently wanting to say that the people that watch her are uneducated, have no knowledge. And I have to say that for the most part, I don't get any of her visas coming into my comments anymore. They came in like a couple of times. I thanked them for helping me in the algorithm, and that was it. They disappeared. They haven't said a thing. They tried to question whether or not I actually had certification as a registered nurse. I heard Chantel do that. I heard her laughing about me, and and then on top of it, ever since then she started to talk about wanting to have sort of whether she should go back to college. And I'm thinking, girl, you don't even have the energy to sort of get to know a country that you live in. How in the world would you be able to manage a bachelor level of study, especially in the education system as it is nowadays, which is really tough and competitive? It's just, what money she got for that? Anyway, all right, anybody. I feel like we're coming up to 2 hours now, and we've kind of decided, I think, that Salah has not had his gallbladder removed, I think is the sort of conclusion that I've come to this evening. I do believe Chantel is starting to show more signs of having cardiac issues. I don't think she's going to talk about it. I don't think she's not been mentioning even her type 2 diabetes recently. We didn't even get a mention of the sciatica today, the scamatica today, because I think we debunked the sciatica already as well. That was not something that she's experiencing. Anything that she's experienced is peripheral neuropathy. She's been getting numbness and tingling because she's not managed the diabetes. And then the staring at the camera, again, I think the diabetes is causing issues. I've had people asking me questions about her thyroid, and I would not be shocked if she was not starting to get hypothyroidism. Often that is due to lack of activity. A lot of it is to do with lack of activity. It's amazing how many different disorders are due to lack of activity. And it doesn't mean that you have to be doing, running half marathons and doing massively crazy, like hardcore exercise. I heard a study actually that was talked about last night, and I was curious because it was kind of on a TV show. And I always kind of like wonder about those, like, they kind of use studies that are limited and actually like controlled trials and stuff. So, but anyway, they were saying that for women, comparatively for men, we need a different type of activity. Like we need like lower impact and less of it to stay healthy, whereas men would need higher impact and more exercise to gain the same benefits as women on a lower impact. But we still need to stay active. So it's not like, we get away with not being active, but we just don't need to be super hardcore with it, getting a little bit of weights, doing, walking daily, especially after meals, is really beneficial. So, okay. So I'm potentially going to go live tomorrow. I'm probably going to go earlier in the day. I'm going to try to see if she talked about anything with her health in this last live. I know the previous live, she did talk about her health and her energy, and I kind of wanted to go over that. So I'm going to try to see if I can just pick the clips out so we don't have to listen to her whole entire 2-hour live, because a lot of it is, I'm just surprised that people are hanging in there with her. They must be hardcore, because she's very, I was like doing the roast. So I was like, I've got to stop this as a healthcare provider because she was getting me so salty because she's so, oh, it's hard to listen to. It's hard. She is very difficult. She's very difficult because she is so non-compliant and her mukbangs are boring. All right, guys. Yeah, is everyone shattered? Oh my gosh, 2:30. You get to bed, Sam. That's late. Government is hard like crazy. Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, there's still always jobs. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Are You Serious? Everybody give Are You Serious a big thank you. Thank you. Are You Serious? Just for your niche that you do with Chantel and your part in this community. And we just appreciate you being my moderator this night. And I think the chat looked lovely. So I'm not even concerned about the language or anything. So just thank you, everybody, for being so respectful. Have a wonderful evening. Stay hydrated. Keep an eye on those labels, everybody. And I'm going to bring up my music and I'm just going to thank you. You're welcome, Eileen. Thank you I had a great time, everybody. I just love it. I loved it. Thank you. Are You Serious? I love it. Like I said, look forward to the diabetes. The diabetes type 2 one is going to be great. Okay. And like I said, I am going to do a reaction to the Doherty dozen. Okay. I have a lot of speculation about what the mother is doing to basically support the family. And, I got a lot of questions. Anyway, that family's wild. That was a wild one. Anyway, let me just bring this up. Enjoy my new outro, everybody.